generation. No more standing out in line. So good at wasting our time. We are the lazy generation. We are the lazy generation. We are the lazy generation now.
Hello and welcome to the final round of the GP4 Offline Championship 2008 season. We are here at the Brazilian Grand Prix at the Interlagos circuit with the championship, not with the championship being decided, but the constructors still being decided by both McLaren and Ferrari. McLaren and Ferrari with battles all throughout the Drivers' Championship and Constructors' Championship as well. So always still to play for here for the final round. Some news for next year, Brawn GP, the new team coming in, have signed Nicolas Gal and Alex Southgate, an interesting pairing. Nicolas Gal, who's obviously had that win for Toro Rosso this year, and Lotus, the team joining the rest of them, as obviously there's only 20 teams originally in the 2009 season, but Lotus are joining. Anyway, Lotus have signed two new drivers, Jordan Maturin, I think that's how you say it, and Michael Mocho. Please tell me whoever Jordan Maturin, I think that's how you say it, but I hope that's the name right. If not, then please tell me. Anyway, so we are here at Interlagos. This has hosted many great title races in the past, but obviously it won't hold one this year. Obviously held in the 2008 season with Lewis Hamilton passing Timo Glock at the final corner at turn 13. So it will be interesting to see today what is going to happen in this race. Now, one thing which will be an interesting fact will be the weather. Will it be dry or will it be wet? But anyway, here is the grid. So Wilner is on pole. Page Knight in impressive second place. Bruno Junqueira third in front of his home fans. He'll want to do something here. Fourth is Felix on top. Fifth, an impressive performance once again from Florian Volker, doing a bit like Sebastian Vettel in the 2008 season, except that he obviously won a race and he didn't. Joseph Willis is sixth. George Roach seventh. Nicolas Gal eighth. Waze Kuba ninth. And Roland Moichin completing the top 10. So Renault will have won a much better season. Well, Waze Kuba, I believe, is going to Ferrari. I believe I probably got that wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's going to a bigger team than Renault. I'll hopefully want some better luck next year. Apologies if I got that wrong. But Evan Byrne is 11th. Jamie Kent is 12th. Sam Thompson 13th. James Willis is 14th. Vinny Stracker 15th. Dominic DeLazio is in 16th place. DeLazio's had a pretty awful season, and so have both Williams, to be honest. They've had a pretty awful end of the season. 17th is Alex Southgate. 18th is Nazal Zafri. 19th is Jack Boyman, who will want to have a season to forget. Vigo Holz is in 20th. Adam Wolf is in 21st. And Dmitry Surkov completing the back of the grid in 22nd. So I believe Bruno Junqueira, I believe, actually does not have a seat for next year. So this is his last race of the season. As you can see, it looks like the weather will rain for the rest of the race, as you can see here. So it depends on if it will be like Fuji, if it will rain right at the start or not. But we don't know what the weather's going to be. The weather is quite unpredictable in Brazil, a bit like it is in, well, Japan or any other, or Malaysia or whatever, in any other place like that. But here we are on the grid for the final time of the 2008 season. The 3 lights are on. Now we're on to 5 lights for the final time. It's a long hold and the lights are out and away we go. Who gets the best start into turn 1? It looks like Nella's got a good start. And it looks like Bruno Junqueira's got a good start as well. Page Knight's had a bad start. And Junqueira takes second. Will Sontag go around the outside of Knight? And yes, he does. Will Volker get past Knight as well? No, he doesn't. And it looks like everyone has avoided contact, it seems. So Bruno Junqueira's already under the back of Will Nella. Coming out the centre S into the turn 4, sorry. And is he going to make the move stick? Yes, he does. Bruno Junqueira takes the lead. What a start from the Brazilian. The crowd are going to go absolutely nuts. And Willis didn't get past. Willis has got past, Florian Volker, who tried to get past Page Knight at turn 1 but couldn't quite do it. So Volker has got past. Willis has got past Volker, I apologise. And as you can see, so at the moment at the start, it is completely dry. There is no sign of any rain at this moment in time, but it will come later on. So here's the rest of the top 10. Moichin, Kuba, there's Gal, and there was Roke, there's Byrne 11th, and the livery, and obviously Sam Thompson 12th. Sam Thompson, who's racing the David Coulthard livery, as this was his final race back in 2008. And unlike David Coulthard, Sam Thompson has got past the first corner, whereas unfortunately David Coulthard didn't in 2008. But we're on the end of lap 1, so Bruno Junqueira leads in front of his home crowd. Will Neller is second, Felix Sontag third. As all the drivers come around into turn 1, Volker trying to defend from George Roque there as we come around into the centre S, and that's Felix Sontag. Felix Sontag has crashed out on lap 2. It doesn't particularly matter much in the driver's standings because he's going to finish third, but unfortunately he would have wanted something else from this race. It's a disappointing end of the season for him. A season which, again, what could have been, and at least he managed to get those 2 wins for McLaren at China and Fuji, and China and Japan. As we go on board with Sontag coming into the centre S, so he seemed to get through the first one, alright, but did he go wide coming into the... You can see he got a bit of understeer, he just couldn't steer and goes into the wall. And that is Sontag's Grand Prix over after just 2 laps. Very disappointing end for him, as all the rest of the cars go past. So that will be him out the races. We look at another view. On board, you can see just the car understeers. He just tries to steer as much as he can, but he was just a passenger. And there goes his left front wheel. Front left wheel, as there goes Page Knight the second. Willows are going to third. As you can see, Volker is trying to get past Joseph Willows for 4th place, and yes, he does. So Junqueira is still leading. Neller's second, Knight third. I forgot about him as well. Strachan loses it and manages to save it. What a save by Finnish Strachan. He comes out right in front of, right between the 2 Hondas. Somehow managed to avoid a collision. I don't know how. As rumble with Gal, as is that Moyton goes round the outside. What a move by, no, it's Waze Cooper, sorry. Waze Cooper goes right round the outside. What a spectacular move by the Belgian driver. Showcasing the talent that he does have, which unfortunately hasn't always been able to show in this Renault car, and just goes right round the outside on the outside line. It's not a usual overtaking spot. Coming around the final corner, as here is Joseph Willows battling with George Roque here, and Willows gets past Roque for 5th place. As there is now, I believe Waze Cooper is going to be right behind him, as we're on board with Delatio, and Delatio goes wide, coming round into the infield section of the track. Is he going to lose it? Yes, he does. And, oh, I don't know how he somehow avoided hitting the Super Aguri there that just came by. I don't know how. That must have been so close. There it is. Look how close that is. And that was Alan Wolf who somehow avoided it. Let's go on board with his view and see how close it was. You can see he just gets it. That slight turn. That slight turn of the wheel just before he was turning into the infield section was probably what saved him there. As Jack Boyman is trying to go past Mikos Gal for 12th place, and he does so with relative ease. As we go on board with Gal again, who is battling, I think, James Willows there behind as he comes around through the centre S. Gal goes wide, and he's going to crash as well. So he does what Sontag did and crashes at the centre S, sorry. As here is Sam Thompson battling with, I believe this is George Roque. George Roque has dropped down rapidly throughout these first 9 laps. Obviously, he must have some sort of problem. As Thompson goes round the outside and completes the move. Well done. Mackenzie's right behind Roque as well. And I don't know what's going on with George Roque. He must have a problem. Or he must be struggling in these conditions. Obviously, it doesn't look like it is raining at the moment, but I imagine it's looking quite gloomy over the circuit. So I think it will probably change soon enough. As Mackenzie has got past Roque for 10th place. As we go on board with Jack Boyman coming round into the infield, and he goes wide as well, and he doesn't spin it, and he's hit. Oh no! And Boyman has Strachan has collided with James Willows. Oh dearie, dearie me! It was bound to happen at some point. Unfortunately, Strachan just came out. He should have seen that Willows was coming round there. And that has taken James Willows and himself, Strachan, out of the race on lap 9. So we've already had quite a few retirements. So we've already had 4 retirements in 9 laps. Been quite a minute start as there goes Willows' car rolling by. As they now push the 2 cars off the circuit. And that's Will Neller. Will Neller. Oh, Will Neller. It has not been a good end to the season. Will Neller has crashed out from 2nd place. He was behind Junqueira. That's going to hand Page Knight 2nd. As you can go on board, he crashes at exactly the same place as Sontag has and Gal. It's just the same thing, I believe. He gets understeer, and you can see, yes, he does. He just gets understeer, and he just can't stop the car, and into the wall he goes. So that means that is 5 cars out in just 10 laps. And, well, I don't really know what to say, Neller. it's what could have been, and that's George Roku's now spun round, coming through the infield section. He does exactly what Strachan did to take out James Wheeler. As you can see, he goes wide. Unfortunately, can't control it, and as you can see, slides. Unfortunately, there is no car that comes around to hit him. There's the marshal waving his flag on the corner there. Must have had a bit of a scary moment, but so Roke manages to avoid any contact, and Roke recovers and spins round as he comes round into centre resistance. He's had a poor race so far, and it's about to get worse, and he goes into the wall as well, and that is George Roke out of the race. As here is the battle for, I believe this is 4th place, and yes it is, this is Moitin and Kuba who've recovered well through the field. A fantastic start to the race. They've managed to gain an advantage thanks to all these cars having problems. And here is, I believe this is Roland Moichin who's fighting Page Knight for 3rd place. Roland Moichin, who's had a nightmare season so far, and is going to try and overtake Knight to get his first podium. And he goes round the outside, and what a move from Roland Moichin, and Waze Kuba's right behind him as well. As you can see, the track looks pretty damp now, so I believe it will be soon for the wet tyres. You can see the spray is up, so it is clearly raining now. So it is now going to be time very soon for intermediate tyres or wet tyres, however wet the track is. And you can see now it is clearly wet. So how long will these cars go? Well, on some parts of the track, as here is some of the cars in the pits. Circles in the pits, that was Delacio's in the pits. These guys, the guys at the back pitting the wet tyres, as Junqueira's in now. Volker's in 2nd place. So Florian Volker has got into 2nd. This could be give him another chance of winning the race. And I bet he can't believe his luck, Volker. He probably was never expecting the start of the season to be fighting at the end of the season for the win. Again, he almost won in Italy and finished 3rd. But there goes Evan Byrne. Evan Byrne stayed out on dry tyres, and so's Kuba. So will it work out for those two? How wet is it? Is it going to be... I think Kuba's probably going to try and undercut Moitian and Knight. Will it work, though? We will see. So pretty much everyone else is in. Page Knight is in, as you can see here. Joseph Willows is now in. Boyman, Thompson, pretty much everybody is now in. Apart from Kuba and Byrne. So this will be interesting, as there is Azul Zafri, who's in 7th. So he's had a pretty good start so far, Zafri, what he was, but they all dropped down a few places. But Zafri's had a pretty good race so far. Thompson goes out in the David Coulthard livery. Southgate's in the pits as well. So we've got 16 cars still remaining on lap 17. As Wolf comes into the pits as well now. Obviously, it is raining, even though you can't see it on the game, so to speak. So Wolf is coming out. So here's Delacio going through. So here is Waze Kuba, who's going to come into the pits this lap, and I imagine Evan Byrne is going to do the exact same thing. Here is Kuba coming into the pits. Let's see if this has worked out for him and also Evan Byrne or not. He comes in for his pit stop on lap 18. So it is Bruno Junqueira who leads this race now in front of his own crowd. The crowd will be absolutely delighted with that, as there goes Evan Byrne in the pits. Kuba, sorry, is going to come out in front of Evan Byrne as he goes past. There we go, he goes past now. So where is he going to come out? So Volker's in a clear 2nd, so it's Junqueira 1st, Volker 2nd. So will Kuba come out in 3rd? And the answer is yes, he does. Kuba does come out in 3rd place, so it has worked very well for both Byrne and as there's Roland Moichin goes round the outside of Page Knight for 5th place. What a move by Roland Moichin. So as I was saying, it was worked out very well for Waze Kuba and Evan Byrne. You can see why Moichin got past and Knight went a bit wide coming off that final right-hander there. And Moichin takes the position just before they go to turn 13. So now Knight will have to try and do her best to try and get the position back. And as we go on to lap 20, here is Adam Wolf in the Super Aguri. He's coming around into the right-hander. He's gone wide as well. He's going to go over the curb. Is he going to spin the car around? I believe he is, and yes, he does. He spins the car around. Will he hit any cars on the way in? No, he doesn't. He manages to avoid his own teammate Surkoff hitting him. As what a move by Southgate. A late move by Southgate on the inside of Viggo Holst there. Fantastic move there by Southgate. Very late, it seems. And you see Holst locked up. He was from very far away, Southgate, so that's a pretty good move, I have to say. So well done to Southgate for pulling that off, as Viggo Holster's now spun around on the back straight. Well, actually, no, on the front straight, sorry, about to come into the centre S's. And this is why he was battling Southgate for 12th place, and he hit the back of his car, and he loses it on the green turf, which is obviously very wet from the rain, as he struggles to get himself going. Lap 20, so a very dramatic race so far in the Brazilian Grand Prix. Final race of the season. I'm hoping 2009 will be as good as what it has been this year. Obviously, we'll have a new era. There'll be, obviously, drivers will be using curves for the first time. As here's Roller Moichin on the back of Evan Byrne for 4th place. Roller Moichin is going to get on the inside of Evan Byrne, and he takes 4th place. So Moichin and Kuba both doing very well in the wet conditions so far, as we're on board with, it's Joseph Willows, sorry, I was thinking who else could it be, because sometimes out the race, as he's going to go past Page Knight for 6th place. As you can see, the rain is now showing up, so it proves how much it is raining now. So Willows comes in up to 6th place, ahead of Page Knight, who unfortunately was running in a second, but unfortunately it's gone downhill from there. As we're on board with Joseph Willows coming into the centre S, and he comes around the first one, he's coming around the second one, he goes wide, and he's going to hit the wall, but he somehow manages to avoid damage. I have no idea how he's managed to do that, compared to what Sontag and Sontag, Gal and Roke did. Willows has managed to get away with it, and he stays in 6th place as well. It's quite incredible there from Joseph Willows. Probably Sontag won't be happy with that, and will probably think that they built steel or whatever on his car to protect him from that. So here comes Surkov into the pits, probably for wet tyres, as it is raining even harder, and the track looks very, very wet and slippery, as Willows now comes into the pits as well. Zafri's up to P7 at the moment, so well done to Azul Zafri, doing very well. He always seems to excel in the wet conditions in that Force India. I'm not sure if he actually has a seat for next year. Well, I suppose we'll find out, I suppose, next season, really. He does. Page Knight comes out. There goes Sam Thompson, who's coming up the line. So into the pits comes Evan Byrne, who got overtaken by Moichin for 3rd place. So how will see? So a 5-second stop, very quick stop for Byrne. So the interesting thing is, will the team crews fill all the drivers up to the end, or will they not? As Joseph Willows spins off on lap 36, Joseph Willows spins off, but it won't matter too much to him, as he has already won the championship. So it won't matter really what he does in this race, but an uncharacteristic error, and it's not been a good race for him so far. You can see he just can't stop the car, and he gets on the green AstroTurf, and as that is incredibly wet and slippery, there is no way of him stopping the car. And he almost actually saves it, but unfortunately loses it, goes into the wall, but somehow doesn't damage his car again. So you can see, just can't turn. You can see he's desperately trying to turn the car, and he just can't do it. And there he goes into the wall. I suppose it wasn't too much of a hard impact, so it wouldn't have damaged much. So he's trying to get his car going, and yes, he does. So he's dropped down to 11th. He's now dropped down to 12th. He's dropped behind Southgate, who's just gone past there. And that is Gal, I believe, or Florian Volker, one of the two. So it's Boyman's in the pits. So Boyman's had quite a good race as well. Zafri's in the pits now. He was in 6th, so Zafri's doing very well. He could try and score points for Force India, which would be very welcome for him. So Mackenzie goes past. I think Mackenzie has obviously stayed out on track, as Florian Volker, the leader at this moment in time, until Bruno Junqueira either pits or goes past, comes into the pits, as there's the Honda that goes right in front of him. Volker's had a fantastic race so far, as Junqueira has come into the pits and has obviously got out ahead of Volker. I didn't realise, obviously, Junqueira was actually in the pits as well. You can see how wet it is all of a sudden, so all the drivers have had to come in for wet tyres. So Junqueira at the moment will, well, Moichin currently leads the race. It will be the first time he's led an F1 race, but technically Junqueira will be leading this, as Joseph Willows comes into the pits in 10th place. He's not had a particularly great race. Unfortunately, he's had that spin earlier on, which has not helped him. And so let's see where he will come out. So he's done a fairly short stop. So will he come out in 10th, or will he drop down behind Southgate? Not sure, but he comes out. He's behind, obviously, Sam Thompson, but he's dropped behind Sam Thompson now. He comes out of the pits. As here is Joseph Willis battling with Sam Thompson, and there's contact made between the two, and Joseph Willis is off again. He hits the wall and somehow avoids damage once again. Oh, I don't know how he just hasn't had the luck today. There is Thompson, who's also spun around as well. It's just not been Willis' day, and it looks like he's stuck. So Thompson's managed to get himself going. As we go on board to see what happened, you can see he just gets contact, and he just spins off there, hits the wall. It doesn't get any damage, but obviously it's damaged something in the car, or he just can't get it going. So it looks like Joseph Willis is out of the race. So we're going to have a look on the onboard. So Thompson was right behind Willis, attacking him on the front straight, coming into the centre S's. And unfortunately, I think Willis probably moves across Thompson there, makes them both lose the front end, so they both spin off. Thompson's recovered, so he's stayed in the race. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like Joseph Willis has recovered, unfortunately, as the Marshal is looking like it's set to push him away. So we are back, obviously, to the action. So you can see Willis trying to get going. He can't seemingly get going. So the Marshal is going to push him away. Oh, hang on. So Willows, despite the Marshal wanting to push him off the track, Willows is doing donuts. Probably to celebrate the fact that he's won the World Championship. I don't think it's the right time to do it, Willows. The race is not over yet. So Willows, despite that, has somehow managed to get going. He's trolled the Marshal there, and he's managed to keep it going, but he's dropped down to 13th there. Oh, that's quite funny. I don't really know what to say about that, but he's still in the race. I don't think that we've ever seen that before. Marshall, who's going to push him off the track, and Joshua's like, no, I'm world champion. You can do one for all I care. I don't care. You can see the Marshall's like, oh, okay, right, I'll run off then. Yeah. Cheers, Joe. You made me waste my time and made me look a fool in front of probably 80,000 crowd here. And you can see Willow's doing some donuts to celebrate. And then obviously he eventually gets going and doesn't damage his car anymore, although probably he could hit a brick wall and it wouldn't be damaged. So he rejoins back in 13th place, dropped behind Holst, Thompson. They drop behind Holst and Thompson. He rejoins. And oh no, there's a Williams in the wall, and that is Jack Boyman. Jack Boyman, who's running so well, he was running in 7th place. And unfortunately, he has crashed out of the Grand Prix. It's been a really disappointing season for him so far. And unfortunately that continues, and it is once again into the centre or about to come in, but he actually loses it a lot before, and he goes on to the runoff, and he can't stop the car because there's just water and probably puddles everywhere, and he goes straight into the wall, as you can see there. So he loses his wheels on the left hand side of the car, including a bit of his front wing as well. So that means that Azul Zafri is now up to 7th place. So Azul Zafri is doing fantastically well. He could score. I was about to say if it was in his first points, but they have already scored points this season. As Waze Cooper's gone off in 3rd. Is he going to be able to avoid the wall? He's going very fast and he hits the wall. And Waze Cooper, who is running in 3rd, it looks set to get a certain podium. And unfortunately, he has cocked it up and he's thrown it away. Cooper, who's usually good in these conditions, just loses it and goes straight into the wall. And he does exactly the same thing as Boyman does. He was going way too fast. You can see he was never going to be able to stop the car and goes into the wall. So that is Cooper's podium gone, and that means I believe Moichin is now on the podium. So it's currently Junqueira, Volker, and Moichin on the podium. That's quite good one. Oh, that's Viggo Hulst who's spun off now, coming around, and that is Southgate who's with him, who's also helplessly, they must have had a collision or something. As you can see, Southgate's gone very slow, and Holst has tried to go on the inside, and I believe these two have already collided earlier in the race. But they've collided once again, and Southgate's gone well off, nearly into the barriers, and Holst has spun his car. Not good there between those two drivers, so it looks like probably their chances of points have gone unless any driver... so this is why Southgate comes out the pits. So he seemed to... the pits, but he seemed to slow down quite a lot, obviously to let that lapped McLaren go through. And Holst then tried to take the opportunity, but then Southgate closed the door, and unfortunately for Holst, he went into the back. And that, unfortunately, fortunately forced them both to spin. So Holst gets back going as Southgate crawls across the runoff area and gets back onto the normal asphalt. And Volker's gone off. No, Florian Volker's gone off. Volker has gone off into the wall, and that could cost him any possible chance of winning this race. and that is going to be costly because I believe that Junqueira still has to pit because I don't think they fueled his car to the end, but Volker is making a hash of getting going. He's really, really struggling right now to get going, and he eventually gets his car moving, but that is going to cost Volker dearly, and this could have handed the race to Junqueira as you're on board with him coming across the start-finish line. It seemed to be going well for Volker. He essentially could have had this in the bag, but he just tries to steer. He just can't get it. He goes on the asphalt, and again somehow doesn't damage his car, and he gets away with it. Makes a bit of a hash of getting going, but he keeps his second place. So that is unfortunate for Volker, who may have just cost him the chance to get his first win in the GP4 Offline Championship. As he does again another little wheelie, another donut. As he rejoins, still in second place, so it proves he has a big gap to Moisin. As here comes Junqueira into the pits, so this has probably cost Volker the race, because I imagine Florian Volker has dropped well behind, because I think it was only the gap was 14 seconds, I believe, when I saw as Volker spun off. So Junqueira comes out, so Junqueira, I believe, unless he's had a really poor in-lap, and there is Volker, he's only just coming around the final corner, about to come onto the straight, so Junqueira is going to lead, and it looks like he's going to win. And no, Azul Zafri's retired. Zafri was running in P6. That is absolutely horrific for the Force India driver. He must be absolutely fuming under that helmet of his. As you can see, his car's taken a light, and it already took a light just coming out of the infield section. So that's unfortunate for Zafri, who is unfortunately had to retire from the Grand Prix with just 9 laps left, sorry. And, well, I don't think it could get any worse for Zafri. He was set to get P6, and he was running in P5 in the Japanese Grand Prix at Fuji, and his car let him down. It was an oil leak this time. I believe it was an engine that cost him the race in Fuji. You can see Zafri misses, unfortunately, the pit entry, so he could have got it fixed and maybe still kept his point. Maybe still at least kept him in the race and kept his point position, but he hits the wall in disgust, and that compounds his misery, unfortunately. As we are on board with Roland Moitian, who is right behind. Is this Florian Volker? I believe so. This is the battle for second place. So Roland Moitian has caught up to Volker because of Volker's obviously spin. And here is Moitian. He's going to try and make a move on the inside. Volker defends. Moitian tries to go to the inside. There's contact, and they both go off. Moitian loses it, goes into a spin. Volker manages to save it and get going, gets in front, and this is going to help Volker. He gets a much bigger gap than what it was originally. So Moitian, unfortunately, messes that up there. You can see there's contact between the two. And Moitian tries to make a move to the inside. Volker moves across to try and block him, and unfortunately, contact between the two. But Volker keeps his second place, and Moitian stays in third, or keeps his third place, you could say. So that's unfortunately disappointing there for Moitian. He could have had second, which would have definitely been his best result in the series so far, considering the luck he's had all season. But he could still get a podium as long as he keeps his car intact. As this is Bruno Junqueira, who's got a 21 second lead, in fact, over Florian Volker. Junqueira, who took the lead right from the start. He got past Page Knight and he got past Will Neller coming into turn 4, and he's never looked back since then. Again, it would have been different if Volker hadn't spun, because he probably would have come out ahead of Junqueira, and then Junqueira probably would have had to try and fight his way past, but Volker's spin has cost him very, very dearly. I don't know even if he only had that small spin and got going straight away if that would have made a difference, but I think the spin overall just made a big impact, but Junqueira won't care about that a bit. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't have a drive for 2009, but this is what he's going to remember for the rest of his life. He is going to remember this victory very well in front of his adoring crowd. The fans probably didn't know, were probably begging to see a Brazilian win their home Grand Prix. It didn't happen in 2007, and as George Roque won that one. But Junqueira is about to come around the final corner. Junqueira is about to come down the final straight, the start-finish straight, in front of his home crowd, which will be absolutely bellowing the noise. As he comes around the final corner, he's about to come past the pit entry, and Bruno Junqueira wins the Brazilian Grand Prix in front of his home crowd as there's a yellow flag on the final lap as well, and that is Adam Wolff who's spun, and he's he was never going to really get any points, so it didn't matter too much. You can see he loses it coming into the infield section, like Boyman, like Kuba, like Roke, like most people have this afternoon. But Junqueira wins, and Florian Volker has unfortunately let another win slip from his grasp, but he'll get second place, which he'll be still pretty pleased about. So Florian Volker takes second. Roland Moita, despite his really horrific season, takes third place, gets a podium, so well done to him. His first podium of the season is Jamie McKenzie for BMW, comes home in sixth, and he decides to battle for fourth between him and Roke, as there was only 1 point in it. Holst comes home in ninth, so no point for him. Delacio's in 10th, Southgate's in 11th, and is that Adam Wolff? Nope, Dimitri Surkov in 12th. Evan Burns going to come home in fourth, a great race from him as well. Adam Wolff is going to come home in 13th place. So at least both Super Aguris finish on their final race in Formula 1 as well, as they will be replaced by Lotus and Brawn as well. And Joseph Willows, the champion, comes home in 7th. It certainly hasn't been the best of races, but he won't care one little bit about that. And Thompson will come home in 8th in the Coulthard livery. And Paige Knight is going to come home in 5th. It was a race of what could have been for her. She started second, but unfortunately dropped down the order. But still, 5th place is a good result for her as well. So that has been the Brazilian Grand Prix. A great race, a fantastic race to end the season, as Brazil usually hosts great races. As we will now see the final finishing results. As you can see, Junqueira is going to be very happy with that one. And now we will see the finishing results. And here it is. So Junqueira wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. Florian Volker second, Moitin third, Byrne fourth, Page Knight fifth, Mackenzie sixth, Willow seventh, Joseph Willow seventh, Santos in eighth, Holst ninth, Delacio, Southgate, Surkov, and Wolff all finishing with the following retirements: Zafri, Kuba, Boyman, Roke, Nella, Willow, Strachan, Gal, and Felix Sontag. As we go to the fastest lap, you can see Florian Volker showing his true pace 3/10 quicker than Bruno Junqueira, so it showed what it could have been for him had he not spun on near the end of the race, but unfortunately it wasn't. But unfortunately, didn't quite happen for him. So he's yet to win, unlike his teammate. But he'll be moving up to Red Bull, so he'll probably have a bigger chance of winning next year. But here are the final drivers and constructors standings. So Joseph Willows wins by 30 points in the end, ahead of Warnella in second. Sontag gets third place. Mackenzie fourth, Roke fifth, Junqueira in sixth. Volker got all the way up to seventh in the end, so well done to him. Byrne 8th, Page Knight 9th, Thompson 10th, Cooper 11th, Willis 13th, Marta 12th, Marta 13th, Gal 14th, Moitin 15th, Boyman 16th, Strachan 17th, Delagio 18th, Cara 19th, Southgate 20th, and Holst, Wolff both with 1 point, and Azul Zafri and Surkov with 0, so it would have been Azul Zafri's first points, unfortunately for him. In the constructors, so McLaren eventually wins it by 20 points ahead of Ferrari, BMW in a lonely third, and Toro Rosso win that fight for fourth place on the same points as Toyota, but with Gal winning in Monza. That's what gets them fourth place. Toyota 5th, Red Bull 6th, Renault 7th, Williams in 8th, despite seems with them, Honda 9th, Force India 10th, and Super Aguri in 11th. Well, that has been the GP4 Offline Championship 2008 season. I really hope all you guys have enjoyed as much as I have, and I just really hope that next season will be as good. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Also, well done to Waze Kuba and Azul for commentating as well. And well done to Erie for hosting the championship for this season. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. We will see you for the 2009 GP4 Offline Championship. Goodbye.